Passover is coming, my friends, and this video will help introduce you to some of the main concepts and rituals around Pesach and help you understand how some of those rituals affect what happens next week at a TVT. So as you know, there are many Jewish holidays that punctuate our year. Some of them are based on the Torah itself. Some of them are based on the fact that Israel is a state. Some of them are based on Jewish history. And here we are at Passover. Well, what is this holiday about? Well, it's about celebrating that the Israelites were slaves in Egypt for 430 years, and it celebrates the moment of freedom and the story that got them there. It celebrates a moment in time during the year where parents must tell a story to their children about slavery and freedom, and they need to do it at night when they are gathered together. And we spend our days of this holiday eating in the same way that a person escaping from slavery eats: no bread allowed. So some main customs. First of all, we do a super spring cleaning before this holiday so that no bread stuff, which is called chametz, say it with me, chametz, one more time, chametz, is inside our house at all. We have like a Thanksgiving-like meal on the first 2 nights of this holiday, and the meal itself follows 14 steps, which you'll see us singing at times around school this week. And the name of this meal is called a Seder, which means order. And at the meal, we've got strange things going on, so kids will wonder what's going on and ask questions. And once those questions are asked, parents can say, it's because we were once slaves and now we are free. And we eat foods that help during that Passover meal, during that Seder, to help tell the story. We kind of eat our story. We eat things that say, oh, that reminds me of this, that reminds me of that. And that meal with a special script called the telling is called it, and that script is called the Haggadah, and the meal itself is called a Seder. What's the need that this holiday is trying to fulfill? Well, it's the journey from slavery to freedom, and it's the Jewish story, and each year we need to ask ourselves, are we free? Are we still metaphorically in Egypt? It's a moment we can imagine that we are slaves and feel that gratitude for freedom as well as empathy for those who are not free at this moment. And it's a moment where we can transmit a central story and understand that transmission becomes easier when it is a ritualized event, and it happens each and every year. How will this holiday affect our students? Well, it really doesn't affect our students in classroom at all, because the holiday begins on April 1st after we leave school, and we go ahead and observe. So if you see this, if you look at this map right here, the green days of the dark green days of the holidays are days that are almost like Shabbat, that you're not allowed to work. The only thing actually that's different than Shabbat is that you are allowed to carry and to cook. So that's all these green days, and as you see, the Jewish holidays always begin at night. So the first night of day 1, we have our Seder number 1. We have a gathering at after sundown. Second Seder number 2 on at the end of day 1. Then we've got day number 2, which we have restrictions. Then we go into Shabbat. So this is kind of a tough year that we have 3 days where we have these like major restrictions on what we're allowed, the work we're allowed to do. Then we have, but that's supposed to be freeing and liberating. So then we have these other days, which are called the intermediate days. We're still eating matzah, but we're allowed to do kind of other things during those days. And then the dark green are kind of our days begin again, and it ends on Thursday, April 9th, when there are 3 stars in the sky. And of course, we're back at school on April 12th, on April 13th, and on April 14th, we have a holiday called Yom HaShoah, which we'll be observing right when we get back. So also things you'll see this week coming up are we've got these model Seders. So we were enacting that great meal that we have at home and all the pieces, because there are lots of songs that you sing. There are lots of things you need to know. And if we can make our kids experts, they'll shine at those moments with their family as well. They'll know what to do. They'll know what to say. They'll know what to sing. And for our middle school and upper school, we have a special program called the Bible Players coming in on Friday to teach us a little bit in a very fun way about that story of slavery and freedom. How can I make connection with this holiday next week at TVT in my class? Well, you can talk about storytelling. What's the best way to tell a story? Because that's exactly what the creators of the Haggadah were thinking. What is it that makes a good story? And they thought, well, start with the bad stuff, end with the good stuff. If the Jewish way is the way to move from slavery to freedom, what are the issues that we should be concerning ourselves with today? In what ways today do we think that we are free? and in what ways do we think that we are actually slaves? What ways do we're getting it wrong, where we think we're actually free, but maybe we are actually slaves when we're just kind of going on and doing what everyone else does. Also, the metaphor of matzah and chametz. Chametz is the stuff that kind of rises, right? So we see that like puffed up food is like talking. We're supposed to be that's like static, complacent, making excuses, waiting, status quo, resistant to change. Whereas flatness is no waste of time, urgency, leave behind what's safe, head out to the unknown. A little bit of courage, take destiny, and take control. Some images and symbols of this holiday. Well, the main symbols of this holiday are matzah. That's right. We also have having this thing called a seder, and at that seder, we know that before the holiday begins, there's a lot of cleaning, right? And at that seder, the youngest kid often asks the 4 questions, the manishana. And of course, at that seder, people are dipping when we get to the 10 plagues, meaning our cup of joy is a little bit diminished when other people need to suffer for our freedom. And of course, on that seder, we have all of these different items that are there to help us tell the story in a easier way. What are the greetings we say before Pesach? We can say Chag Sameach. We can say Chag Kasher v'Sameach, since there's something about not just eating, but eating in a kosher or acceptable way for the holiday. Or you can just say Happy Pesach, Happy Passover, Happy Pesach, which is in Hebrew. What we have to look forward to when we get back to school, we've got holidays that have been created by Jewish history, the fact that Israel is a state today. We've got Yom HaShoah, the first week back, which is really the saddest day of the Jewish year. Then we've got Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut, Israeli Remembrance Day, and which the 8th grade are taking the leadership role in, and then our I Love Israel Fair for Israel Independence Day. And that's it. So let me be the first to wish you a wonderful Passover break. And I hope that if you find yourself at a Seder, that you'll know a little bit about what that's about, and you'll be able to contribute to the wonderful discussions that happen there.